We are back, Blades, for a match preview. It is Hal Stewart's here on the Sheffield United way. Please, if you haven't already, give this video a like. Make sure you're subscribed. There could be a new Sheffield United shirt in it for you. If you want more information on that, have a look at our Twitter at Sheffield United Way, and make sure you're giving us a follow on there. We are going to be previewing Bristol City versus Sheffield United. Kickoff is 8 p.m. at Ashton Gate. A big shout out to our members. You will see running along the bottom of the screen all of their names. If you're not yet a member, click join on YouTube and you'll be given all the details and all the options for how to do that and help keep the lights on here at Sheffield United Way Towers. Also, our other sponsors sponsoring, supporting regularly the channel, NordVPN, who've been with us for a long time now, doing fantastic work and keeping your computer safe. And also Parrot Peel, the musical ensemble with 98 members in 14 countries. Stick or Twist, a unique album. The great thing about their album, it is a unique album for every listener. No two people get the same album. Check out parrotpeel.com. parrotpeel.com. Let me take this opportunity to bring in Ollie.
Hey, nice to see you. How are you doing?
Freshly shaven. I'm very well. You shaved your beard for good luck, and good luck is what came. So, can you grow it back now?
Well, this is the trouble I always find. Sometimes you shave, you get a win. Then what it is the good luck in the shave, and therefore I have to shave again tomorrow morning, or is the good luck in now this form of stubble? So I'll let this grow out until we lose. We'll see. We'll see how I fancy it, and whether or not my wife wants me to grow it back out. I think.
Yeah, well, you look 10 years younger, young man. Oh, I tell you what, you can answer this one because I'm not really that interested in this sort of thing. Anyone know when the Black Third kit will be released?
No, not as far as I'm aware.
Good.
I certainly don't know. I'm definitely keeping an eye out for it because I think it's a lovely kit, but I have no idea when it's being released.
I've given up getting kits. That's me done for kits. I sold them all. That's why I'm wearing.
I was going to say.
No, it's got a Blades badge on. We're all good. Right, we are, of course, previewing Bristol City away. I went last season, actually took my wife, and she hated it. Well, not too bad for us, where we used to live. Bit of a journey now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'll try and stay awake for what is a 10 p.m. kickoff time here in Cyprus. But before we get on to that, I'm going to quickly look back at the game from Saturday. We talked about the fact that your beard brought us good luck. West Brom 0, Sheffield United 2, our first league victory in the entire time I've been in Cyprus. What was it, 7? Is it 7?
Yeah, since the international break.
Yeah, incredible. So Preston North End before that, away from home, and then West Brom away. Mad to think, really is a run we would not have seen coming. This game, lots to talk about, but I think the main thing that most people are discussing, and I know you'll have heard about this, the pink towel that has been held by the West Brom fan, given to Darnell Furlong to increase the trajectory of his throw-ins. What is that all about? Is that a towel that is issued by the club? Is that a towel that someone says, "Love, I'm going to the football, get me a bit of towel"? And then he gets the ball from Furlong, wipes the towel, and then the fan gives it back to him. Do they have an understanding? Is that a season ticket situation? Lots of questions here, Ollie. I know you don't know, but I know you know. I mean, you couldn't answer Aaron's, and the poor guy's got pink eye, so he needs answers to pink towel. Any ideas?
No idea, but I love towel drama. Whenever you're playing football, if there's towel drama, you know it's going to have been a good game. Do you remember Rotherham at home a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Was it Will Vault who had the towel drama and proceeded to immediately get sent off when he wasn't allowed to use his towel? Always love towel drama. Always nice to beat a team who want a towel.
Oh, absolutely. I could not put it better myself. Speaking of long throws, and someone who could definitely utilize the towel, Jackie Long throw. Good to see him back. It's going to be a lot of chat about players that are back, but maybe players that are out. That's what you've still got to look forward to after Ollie talks about last time out at Bristol City. I already mentioned I went to this one with my wife. Ollie, for those that don't recall straight off the top of the dome like I do, tell us what happened.
Well, I certainly didn't recall it off the top of my dome. I had to go out. I had to watch the highlights to see if I could remember this game because I thought I couldn't. I watched about 3 highlights and then realised I could 100% remember this game. And it was a very frustrating one, shall we say. United started this game fantastically. First off, Gibbs-White was at his best. Him and Njai were causing so many problems. We had some fantastic chances. Gibbs-White had one saved by the keeper. And Njai fired wide. He wasn't quite as composed last season as he was this. Let's put it that way, because it weren't his best finish. And then second half, it continues the same, and we get stung on a break. We have a decent chance, ball in the box, Jackie long throw, header. Their keeper catches it, boots it long, Basham misses header, and suddenly they are in. Think it was Semenyo down the wing, just plays it across, and Chris Martin has the easiest finish, just passing to the back of the net. And it felt like it was going to be one of those days for United. Should have been ahead, and now we're losing. But we did manage to get back into it. We managed to get what I would say a very deserved equaliser. We had a bit of a weak shot, to be honest. Ender Stevens, just from outside the box. Their keeper parries it up in the air, and Morgan Gibbs-White scores a fantastic acrobatic scissor kick to get us a more than deserved point. You'll probably remember it better than I do, Hal, having been there, because this was one of those that had just completely slipped from my mind.
I remember lots of things about it, mostly the sort of smoke bombs that were let off that my wife was furious about because they made her hair stink. So
nice.
that was a problem for me on the journey back. Good times. That's what football fandom's all about. Let's look at team news for this one then. Bristol City this time around. Sander Berge, Reece Norrington Davis. Terrible for him that he's going to miss out on a World Cup. I'm truly gutted for the lads. I mean, they don't come around that often, every 4 years. And you never know if Wales are going to be there every single time. So he would definitely have been on the plane. And I'm genuinely sad for him. He's been one of the standout performers of the season. Max Load he'd also started really well as well after that Watford display, which was terrible. He's been really good since then. Jayden Bogle, all going to miss the clash. They're all injured. We know that defender Arnold Ahmedhodzic is going to miss out through suspension, 5 yellow cards. But the big question is who plays in goal, because Wes Foderingham could return in between the sticks after serving the 3-match ban for his red card that he picked up against Blackpool for the body slam on Lavery. You know my thoughts, Ollie. I think he was pulled to the ground. Yeah, and you do as well.
It was probably a fair red card, but I think he definitely comes back into the team.
Yeah, I think he probably does. Jack Robinson could be tasked with coming back as well. We've already spoken about him. And there's also scope for Ender Stevens perhaps to be maybe thrust in at left wing back, maybe in a back three. We're both going to talk about that and our thoughts in a moment. I'll give you a quote from Paul Heckingbottom, who said that Kieran Clark is back as well, welcoming him back. Flecky a few weeks down, which I think means he's a few weeks down along the road to full fitness because he's been playing. Gradually getting bodies back is what we want to see. Now, Nick always sends us and then puts on Twitter his predicted team. Let's have a little look at this. He's gone with Wes making that return, with Ahmedhodzic out, Basham on that right-hand side of the three, Egan in the middle, Jackie long throw, then Gorgeous George and Ben Osborne on the wing-back positions. That man, Tommy Doyle, who keeps getting better and better for me. You know my thoughts on us trying to sign him. We've got no chance, but one can dream. Then look at that ping from Norwood. Fleck, McBurney, and Skillyman and Dye. They're forming quite a formidable partnership that I really like. Ollie, talk to me about what you think if the worst case scenario is that we're without maybe one of Basham or Baldock. What's going to happen? How are we going to shape up?
Yeah, that's what's worrying me, to be honest. I'm worried that one of those two isn't going to be fit. I think if they're not fit, it's a really tricky decision for what we're going to do. To my mind, I think what we would do in that scenario is that Osborne would move over and play right wing back, and Ender Stevens would be thrust in from the start to play left wing back, simply because I don't know what other bodies or what other options we have got. So I am praying that Basham and Baldock were just precautionary subs. Neither of them is out injured. They're both going to make this game and they're both going to be able to play. Because if not, as I say, I think it's Osborne on that right side, which, as much as I do quite like Osborne, it's not his best position. And I think we all know that.
Overall, Ben Osborne, thoughts, brackets, feelings?
I love Ben Osborne generally. I think he's a great laugh. He's a good follow on Twitter. He tries his absolute best every opportunity that he gets. Now, I think we all accept that maybe he's not the most technically proficient player that United have got. I don't think he's one who we're looking at and saying, oh, he's 100% ready for a step up to take us to the Premier League. But what he is a trier, and I will never, ever fault somebody who's willing to give everything they've got we've always had him at United. We had Monte, we had Doyle. We've had players who do this, and I think Osborne fits that mould. And for that, I love him.
Yeah, could not have put it better myself. Let us know in the comments. Does Davies keep the shirts after a clean sheet, or does Wes come back in as he is our number one? Let us know in the comments. We actually had a poll that was run on Twitter, and he thought it's going to be quite obvious, and it wasn't. It was surprisingly weighted in Davies' favour. So this is not a cut and dried one, as you might think with some fans. I would go Wes, no question. I think it's a silly one, but
I don't know who was voting for Davies. I think it's Wes's
quite a
shirt.
lot.
It's still Wes's shirt. Davies has been a fine backup and a good deputy. You know, he had his moments against Norwich, but he has come back from that really well. He made the penalty save, but I think it's very clear we have a number one, and I think it's Wes's shirt, and it should continue to be.
I am going to ask you another question before we get on to the opposition, and it's this one that James has asked. What we're going to do over Khadra, and it's something that I was talking about on the watch-along. Yeah. And I have to say, if he's going to be utilised like this, you might as well send him back because he could sit on the bench for Brighton. And if you are going to play him, I think you probably play him as an impact sub, particularly away from home, maybe as a striker. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think impact sub is a really good role for Khadra. You know, I know that's probably not what we were all hoping for at the start of the season, but with his pace, with the way that he plays, running at tired defences is always going to be his game. And if we're being brutally honest, I don't think he has shown enough in his appearances for United to really say he needs to be starting. What I do worry about, not quite sure how to word it, is whether or not any of these non-appearances from him are impacted by the potential clause, which means after X amount of appearances, we may have to sign him. I think he would be a good option in behind the striker, exactly as Alessandro says. But I just wonder what it is that's not working for him at the moment. What's not working for Heke? I'd want to see more of him, particularly late in games, running at tired defenders. He can just cause havoc.
Yeah. Actually, Ollie, you and I did QPR away, and I met Alessandro at QPR away. Who's just
did. I remember. Yes, you did. Yeah.
It's a beautiful Blades family.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously they didn't know who I was, and so therefore was.
And now look at you. Now look at you. You are the most famous Sheffield United fan. I hope people are starting to recognise you at games.
Never. I've had one. Actually, no. I tell a lie. One guy did. We had a lovely chat. He was really nice.
Fantastic! I really do love hearing that. It's good. Now your main role here is taking a lot of the slack that I usually do when Nick's here with me. So now you've got the hardest job of all. Opposition 11. What are you saying?
So I fortunately have been able to talk to a Bristol City fan on Twitter. She's definitely worth a follow at Sinead Bird. She's fantastic, knows everything there is to know really about Bristol, but also about women's football. She is fantastic. So definitely somebody to follow. So what has she told me? It's quite tricky to pick their team at the moment. They had sickness in the camp just before the Swansea game, which really affected their selection. And then they went and played quite well in that game. So what is the impact there? We're not quite sure. Closer, Masengo, Vyman, Atkinson were all out. So are they coming back in for this game? It depends how they have recovered. They normally play a 3-5-2. They have a 10 in behind two strikers. So it's not dissimilar to our system. Certainly not in the way that they're going to play it. So in goal, we're expecting Max O'Leary. He's going to keep his place. Bentley started the year as number one, but has dropped out. And O'Leary seems to have stepped up and he's doing a good job. They'll have a back three. As I say, at the weekend, it was Tanner, Viner and Pring, but I would expect Atkinson to come in there, and I wouldn't be really gambling on playing against such an inexperienced back three with only one recognised centre-half. Wing-backs will be Sykes and De Silva. They'll have two in midfield of James and Scott. Scott is another one of those who's been a little bit unwell, but he did play the majority of the game at the weekend, so I think he will continue in that place. They'll then have Vyman, who is the scourge of Sheffield United. I'm sure I wake up in like panic dreams of Andy Vyman just scoring against us time after time. He'll probably be playing behind Wells and Conway. Now, interestingly enough, one of the things I didn't know so much about with Bristol is that we think that of that starting 11, 6 of them will be from their academy, which is really impressive for a team in the Championship. They're showing they can do it on a low budget. So it's going to be a tricky one, but yeah, I think that'll be the side, and hopefully we can beat them. Do you have panic dreams about Andy Vyman, or is it just me?
Oh, no, I do as well. Yeah, he always seems to score against us. And if any Bristol City fans are watching, every time Ollie said Bristol, you are allowed to call us Sheffield. We will even it up. I know. He's
I
had
can
him there.
only apologise. Do you know what I've got written? Like all day, I've been saying to myself, "Say Bristol City, say Bristol
Yeah,
City,"
they hate
and
it.
I can
They
only
hate it.
apologise. You could take it to be a compliment that you're the only team in Bristol that matter. Let
Oh,
that
yeah,
be
go with
my
that.
apology to you.
That's his get out. Well played, sir. We've got a referee. Hopefully, won't be looking for any get outs. The referee for Bristol City versus Sheffield United is Stephen Martin. Do you want to insert sigh or huff here?
Don't know loads about Stephen Martin, to be fair to you.
Do you?
You know, I just wanted to comment on his name and, you know, the fact that I loved airplane. And, you know, if he brings me that much joy this weekend, or this midweek, should I say, that'll be fine for me.
There's going to be Bristol City fans calling you the jerk. There's a Steve
Fair.
Martin
That's
reference
fair.
there. From Staffordshire is where he hails. He's taken charge of 11 games this season. He's issued 38 yellows, 1 red, and he's given 0 penalties. Now, what I like about him, Ollie, is he was in charge of the Blades 2-0 win at home against Barnsley last season, 19th of March. Prior to that, our 2-0 home win versus Luton, 22nd of January. United have won 6 of the 9 games that he has refereed. Is this a good omen?
That feels like a good omen. That's a pretty good hit rate, 2 out of 3. So yeah, that's positive. Let's hope we can keep that going.
You must watch it if you don't already. The score predictions video, which Nick does with Ollie. Ollie, I asked you last time. I'll do it again. How are you doing with these?
Oh, don't. Even worse this time than last time. Like, I think last time you asked me, I just about caught up. This time I've had an absolute shocker of a midweek. I had people asking me on Twitter whether or not the beard shave was actually a forfeit for being so bad at football predictions that I've had to mock myself. But yeah, it was a shocker of a week for me. Nick doing a little bit better, but please do go and watch that video. It's a lot of fun to make. And obviously you can prove yourself better than me at predicting the championship in the comments. So certainly come and play along.
It's a really tough league to predict. Nick always tells me at this point to play a little video clip of the video prediction. I can't find that. So instead, I'm going to play this.
Wes. League One, Wes.
League One West. Are we crazy?
League One West. Are we crazy?
I mean, I need no excuse.
Any excuse to watch it.
Exactly. And we think both of us that he's going to be coming back for Bristol City, Sheffield United, and we need your score predictions. Pop them in the comments below, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching later. We love reading the comments. Michael's already kicked us off nicely with Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 1. Ollie, Robins versus Blades. I already know what you said from the video, but go on for those that haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, for those that haven't watched the predictions video, I'm going for a pretty entertaining 2-2 draw. I think with Anel missing, that's a real worry for United. You know, we're a much better team with him in the side. And so I worry about us defensively, but we know how good we are going forward. With Njai, with McBurney, they're both in great form. I think we can create. I think we can really take it to Bristol City. Remembered that time. So yeah, I think an entertaining game and a 2-2 draw. I think you might disagree.
Yeah, you've gone with the Desmond. I actually think this is going to be a really, really dull match. I'm sorry to say it. The more I'm doing these predictions, and recently I've been getting them wrong, I'm thinking like I'm always predicting boring games in the hope that there'll be, you know, a 5-4 Blades win or something like that, which would not be good for me at all. But let's say 0-0, and let's hope that after even half time, people are laughing at me and going, "You got this so wrong." On paper, the Blades 4th, Bristol City 14th. I don't rate Nigel Pearson in what he's done at Bristol City. I think he was a pretty decent manager before that. Hasn't really started working for him there. We should beat him, but it's the Championship.
It's so hard to predict the Championship. And, you know, Bristol City had actually started the season fantastically. I know when we were reflecting on it earlier on in the predictions video, I was talking up Bristol City a lot. I really liked them, thought they were scoring goals, looked a really exciting side. It has gone off the rails the last few weeks, but they have got the potential to really take it to teams. And so I think a draw would be a decent point, as much as it would frustrate us at the time.
Yeah, agreed. And I'll take it. So player connections, or as Nick says, player connecciones. Don't know why he says it. I don't know why I repeated it. Now, again, don't like to do it to you, but you are going to get a chance to go first. Can you think of anyone who played for Bristol City and Sheffield United? Can be any order.
tell you what, I can think of a manager who was managing us both, and obviously a big one for the channel. Please do go and watch the interview that we have got with Danny Wilson. Was a manager. I think after Wednesday he went to Bristol City, and then obviously came to us a little bit later in his career. What about yourself? You got any players you want to shout out? Any big ones?
Still gutted I missed out on that Danny Wilson interview. That was the night I was in the hotel flying the next morning to Cyprus, and the Wi-Fi was just not going to be good enough. So, Danny, the one that got away. Oh, Danny boy. I'm going to go with Jamal Campbell-Rice. And do you remember, obviously, Adam, Statsman Adam from Fans React?
Adam.
One of his most hated Sheffield United players of all time, Jamal Campbell-Rice. I know he'll be watching this, so he can just back that up a little later on. What about another friend of the channel, Martin Wolford?
Of course. Yes.
Not the best Sheffield United player, but the interview with him. When people say to me, "Oh, what's your favourite player interview?" I almost always say Martin Wolford. It's one of the most fascinating, and he's one of these players that had a trade before becoming a professional footballer, and he's got quite a lot to say, and he doesn't hold back, and he's got reasons as to why it didn't work at the Lane, and they're interesting, whether you think they're just excuses or not. Check it out for yourself.
Well,
So that's
a fantastic interview that I certainly, it was before I had anything to do with the channel, and I really enjoyed that video.
we had our eye on you. Don't know what that means. Scouting fans. Just sounds a bit odd. Also, who else could we throw in there? I'll say John Stead, and of course, Luke Freezy Freeman. If you can think of any more, pop them in the comments. Let's hope that Ollie is, I would say, leaning more towards a correct prediction than me, because at least your game will be more exciting.
Goals. Yeah, at least I'll see some goals. But I, to be honest, hope we're both wrong. I want to see United win. I hope some of those comments are right. Be positive, 3-0 win. That's what I'd like to see. And of course, we did see that little shout out for Didsy there, which is definitely worth a mention. Getting his, I think it's his first career hat trick, and he sealed it with an absolute beauty. If anyone's not seen the highlights, find that.
They were all good.
It is lovely.
They were all good goals. And shout out to John as well, who's a massive Blade friend of the show, who's been on, who went to that game to actually get to see the Didsy masterclass and been messaging me today and telling me it was even better in the flesh. Thanks to all of you as well for watching. Ollie, always appreciate you joining me for this. I'm not quite sure when the next one that you and I are doing, but whenever it is, I already look forward to it. Enjoy the game.
Yes, certainly. Hopefully it'll be a good one. Hopefully everybody will enjoy it. And yeah, nice catching up, Hal.
Cheers. Up the Blades.